feel about the quitting at Applebee's?
Dude, I've never felt so good about anything in my life, especially since I'm in an awkward situation there. And this is what I kind of want to talk to you about, and I never got to. You remember that comedy show that we were doing the other week?
Yeah.
So the comedy show went well, and there's this chick from Applebee's who I pretty much destroyed her life by the end of this story. But so she works there, has been flirting with me the whole time I've been working there for this final semester of school.
Mm-hmm.
Here, let me bring you back up. We'll just get everything going. But anyway, she was flirting with me and everything, but her boyfriend actually works at Applebee's too. But he never worked. Yeah. But he never worked any days that we all worked together. I would either work with him or her.
Yeah.
And
were you cool with him?
No, he's a douche. But like, I don't like him. But he just seems weird. But he's also got like problems, like medically. Like he used to be like 230, now he's like 180 in the span of like a year because of some esophageal issue. And he's like,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
So I'm trying to avoid my draw to have sex with his girl. But she was so blatant with some stuff sometimes. Like she just came over, we're all closing together, and she just right next to me. She goes, "Man, I really need to get laid," and then like just looks at me like like a little devilish. And I was just like, "Oh man!"
And you go, and I'm not talking about Hawaii.
Oh no! I was like, "Man, you should really talk to your boyfriend about something like that. I'm pretty sure like he can help you out." He goes, "Yeah, I do, and all he ever wants me to do is suck his dick. It's terrible. I hate him." So it's like, oh my god. Okay.
Hey, I feel you, buddy.
Yeah. Which I can understand. If you're like going through this medical issue, you don't want to put too much exertion into things. Be like 170 pounds after fucking once.
Well, with his esophagus, he probably can't return the favor, though. That's probably the problem.
Definitely can't. But anyway, she came to the show, and she was supposed to bring her boyfriend and a couple other people. She just showed up alone. And like,
really?
Yeah, and then like 2 days earlier, she was like, "Hey, is it cool if my boyfriend comes?" I'm like, "Yeah, why wouldn't it be okay? Like, I want as many people to come as possible." She goes, "Oh, I just didn't know. I just wanted to see what you would say about that." And then she shows up without him, and I'm like, "Oh man!" And I'm drinking, so I know I'm not going to be able to control myself after a couple. So it ends up to the point where she's like, "Show's over. Show went great." Shout out to Mike Marin in Baltimore comedy. Fucking killed it with a 30-minute set and just laughing the whole time.
That's awesome.
But we get outside, we're talking. She's just talking about how much she hates her boyfriend, and I'm just like, "Oh man, yeah. If you ever leave him or something, hit me up because I'll take you out on a date." And at that point, we just keep talking all night. It's going great. She's continuously talking about how like we literally planned a breakfast for the next morning. And we're going to go out and whatnot. She's going to leave the guy. But then the guy shows up to the bar that we went to because he saw a Snapchat, and she still has the thing. Like, he's basically the NSA where he could, like, see where she was on Snapchat. So he just shows up.
What?
Yeah, he just shows up because he has trust issues, rightfully so. Like, don't get me wrong. Good job, I guess. You were right.
Jesus Christ.
And then I'm expecting, like, okay, cool, he's here. Go tell him the things we were just talking about, I guess, because this is over. She goes up, and all of a sudden, she's his girlfriend again. Like, nothing, she doesn't hate him at all, she's just over there. So I'm like, at this point, I'm like, oh, she was just going to cheat on that guy with me and not leave him, and this is deception.
Oh, for sure.
Yes, so, and, like, I had a few more drinks in me, and then I'm very impulsive when I'm drinking. So I just said, fuck it. I'm going to blow this whole situation up. So,
no, you didn't.
Yes, I swear to God this happened. Tyler Dark on the podcast next week can verify the story. I go up to the guy and I go, "Hey man, just want to let you know, we were talking about fucking earlier. She doesn't like you anymore and she's going to be with me now."
What happened?
The guy just sat there blinking. Like, I've never seen someone blink so many times in my life in such a short span. And he was just like, "Huh, what?" And I looked to the girl to be like, "Yeah, tell him." And then she goes, no, and then like gets underneath of his shoulder, and I'm just like, oh fuck this shit.
Yeah.
And I just let everything out. I go, hey man, she was talking about leaving you, hates your guts, was gonna cheat, she's gonna cheat on you or leave you one day. Fuck that shit. And we had already talked about leaving to another bar, so all the other people were ready to leave. I go, all right guys, we're going to Mojo's. The whole group we were with strolled out. There's this one girl that was like not doing too hot, so I had to carry her to the next bar and then like into a taxi to get her home. And then it's just them two left alone, like I assume blinking at one another, like, are we gonna talk about this?
No, babe, it's not true. No, but you ever meet those people that are just like disasters? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you just wonder, like, how are you not just constantly worried all the time?
And I feel like they are. Like that's like. Yeah, I mean,
that ain't no way to live.
No, I mean, how worried is... that's why, man, because I used to lie when I was, like, early high school, middle school, like, 8th grade, 9th grade, right? And then, like, it gets old, like, trying to figure out, like, your lies and everything. I don't do it anymore. Unless it's, like, a white lie.
I can't anymore. Because when I drink, I, like, don't have the facilities to lie. You know what I mean? The capacity. Right.
I can't stand fakeness. Like all the people in my well, not in this, but in certain times of my life I've been in classes, right? And it's mainly women, honestly, who just pretend to like someone that you know they drastically hate. And I don't know why. That seems to be like a distinct woman thing or like a really bitchy man thing. There's very few men that I know that do that. They typically just
men do it sometimes. Yeah. Like it gets tricky when it's like, you know, it's like your friends are like a girl and then they bring their boyfriend and their boyfriend's like a douchebag and you can't like tell them that. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a different scenario than what I'm talking about though. This is they hate this person and then they're just like, let's hang out this weekend. And then they go and hang out and hate the person the whole time. And then when the person leaves, they go, man, I fucking hate her. Like, she's the worst.
Oh, dude. I gotta tell you all this crazy roommate shit that happened with me.
With all your, like, movie roommates or whatever?
Not the movie ones. So, about, like, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So, I have this one roommate who we'll call Chuck. And Chuck's girlfriend lives next door to us at our apartment complex, right? And so they broke up like maybe like a year ago, but we stayed, like me and like one of my other roommates stayed like friends with her because she's cool and like we used to hang out all the time because they used to be in a relationship, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And so we went to like Steak and Shake, like a restaurant. And like we got shown all these texts about him. Like he's also like Chuck is like a completely compulsive liar. And like I can look past that. You know, I'm not the most, you know, I've told lies before, you know.
I'm a lying sack of shit as well. I understand.
So we go and like we hear all this stuff about the breakup and all this stuff that she shows us text messages and all this stuff that he said wasn't true. So we used to have these game night things where we'd have people over play Jackbox games, board games and stuff. Super fun, chill, laid back. You know, you do it on like a Tuesday night. And so we asked Chuck, we're like, yo, is it cool if like your ex comes over for one of these things? He's like, oh yeah, sure, man. Yeah, no problem. Like we're completely fine, you know. No. Later so we have her like the ex and like one of her friends over, and like this dude literally has to go to his car because he's gonna start crying from like seeing this girl again.
Oh my!
Hold on, it gets way worse. So then, like they leave at some point. We have this big heart to heart. Or like, dude, he's like, promise me she'll never come back in the apartment again.
Oh man!
and we totally say yes. We're like, yes, of course, she'll never come back again. So we invite her over for the next Friday. It was
Literally
a
a
dick
week.
move, but it was this one dude's. It was my one friend's birthday party. So when he goes like to tell Chuck that his ex is coming, like Chuck like flips the fuck out, like throws a chair, does all this crazy stuff. So then like the party happens, and the next day we get this text from Chuck like, guys, I'm gonna be moving out in like 3 days.
Whoa! How long is he? Still has a lease there, I assume, right?
He broke his lease.
Oh shit!
And he had signed a lease for the next year too, because we got to sign him real early. But so then so he moves out, and he like hates my one roommate. My one roommate's tried to apologize, tried to be like the bigger dude, you know what I mean? And he just like hasn't done anything. And so like 2 days ago, or maybe not 2 days ago, it was like last weekend, I think, or it was on Wednesday. It was on Wednesday. We have like the ex over because we're like good friends now,
Right.
and like I'm defending Chuck this whole time, right? Like they're all making fun of him. I make fun of him too because I'm a dick, but I'm also like the guy that's like, but I could see his side. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're all drinking. It's like 6 a.m, and I'm like defending, and so I was talking like the ex because she used to be like a huge like bitch to me, like just straight up, like no subterfuge to it all, was like super mean to me. And so I had been drinking, so I called her out on it. I was like, yeah, we're friends now, but do you remember you used to be a huge bitch to me? So turns out this Chuck dude, I had last year. We had like a black roommate, this dude named Phil, who I wasn't like best friends with, but like we hung out, we went to the bars, you know what I mean? Turns out Chuck had been telling everybody that I had been calling this dude the N-word behind his back.
What?
And was his huge racist.
Why would he do that?
No, like, no motivation to do it, right? Like, he's just a pathological liar or whatever. But I was like so pissed off at that because like I've been defending him all night, and then I found out like he's telling everybody I'm a Klansman, basically. You know what I mean? Like no wonder that girl didn't like me.
Right.
You know?
And now she realizes that it's a bullshit story, and now she likes you.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I guess you're not defending him anymore.
Oh fuck no! Fuck him!
Right?
I was his like biggest advocate, and now he can go kill himself. I don't give a fuck.
What an asshole. Well shit. Anyway, because we forgot this. Welcome to Preferably Biased, everyone.
Yeah. What's up?
We just got into a good conversation when everything started. My name's Ryan Grimes. Here with Parker Brown.
Hola.
Yeah, that was nice. We should probably just start like that most of the time. Fuck it.
Just tell some crazy story about what happened.
Or whatever's going around.
Yo.
I can't wait till we start doing the 2 podcasts a week when I get back into town the next couple weeks.
That'll be fun.
The one where we're just fucking around, and then this one with politics. But
hey, can I talk shit about another podcast real quick?
So you can.
I was on Steve Tracy and Ray Ubela's podcast. I don't know if you've seen it.
I like both of those guys. What are you gonna do?
Huh?
What you better do, Parker? I like both those guys.
No, I love them too, but I'm criticizing the format. So you can go watch this. They had me and Al Barnes. Do you know Al Barnes?
I've never met him, but I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Yeah, well, he's one of my good friends. But they had us on, and so we have 4 microphones, and like we're all just joking around at the beginning, and then they go, yeah, your mics are gonna be turned off at the start to me and Al, and I'm like, okay, and they start the podcast, and it's just like Ray and Steve talking about their like week, while me and Al just sit there in silence. Like they don't introduce us for like 20 minutes or whatever.
Okay.
And weird. So I'm being a complete like bitch. Like you know me. Like I can be a, you know.
Trust me, I'm aware, Parker. I've witnessed this firsthand.
I can be very annoying if I want to be. So I'm just like making looks at the camera. I'm just like, why the fuck haven't we been let in yet? But dude, why would you do? That's my rant.
All right.
Horrible format,
Well, fuck it.
but a great podcast. Check out Two Joke Minimum with Steve Tracy and Ray Ubala.
All right.
Who we had on.
We did have Ray Ubala. That was a good one. Hates nuclear power. All right.
He got on me, I think, during the podcast about that too.
Oh, did he?
About how I said that wind was going to change. He's like, wind's not going to change. I'm like, buddy, I've seen the models.
All right, Parker, let's calm down. Not like you're Elon Musk over here knowing the.
I'm not.
The future.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen.
I've
I haven't
seen
looked
them,
at
my
any
man.
models.
I know what's happening. No, none of us do. All right, well, let's try to figure out what's happening. Let's get into this Barr shit. All right, we got some videos here. This whole situation's been kind of crazy. Like it, because the whole way I look at it the whole time, I don't know how you look at it, Parker, as like a centrist, but I just look at it through everyone that's involved in these hearings is a lying sack of crap. And all of them have some sort of underlying falsehoods that they're trying to protect. And none of them are out here looking for the truth to try to help Americans. It's just whatever helps their own personal power. I don't know how are you viewing it?
You just remember, like, when you were a kid and you thought politicians actually, like, cared about making the country a better place and weren't just, like tribalist douchebags about their party?
It's exactly that, too. It's crazy how many people don't see it like that. That's the thing that scares me the most.
Well, not their side. The other side is tribalist and only cares about their party. But not our side.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like my uncles and everything are just like on Barr's side like crazy. Don't get me wrong. You're going to see I'm going to defend Barr in this multiple times, but
I don't defend Barr. I don't like Kamala Harris is being intentionally not nice. I'm trying to think of a better word, but not nice to Barr. You know what I mean?
Well, that's who we're going to open up with the whole interaction between those two. You got anything else you saying something before we start these videos?
Oh, I'll say it after, just about what's going to be coming up next.
All right, bet. All right, here's the interaction between Kamala Harris and Barr here. Nope.
In your March 24th summary, you wrote that, quote, after reviewing the special counsel's final report, Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein and I have concluded that the evidence is not sufficient to establish that the president committed an obstruction of justice offense. Now, the special counsel's investigation produced a great deal of evidence. I'm led to believe it included witnesses' notes and emails, witnesses' congressional testimony, witnesses' interviews, which were summarized in the FBI 302 forms, former FBI Director Comey's memos, and the president's public statements. My question is, in reaching your conclusion, did you personally review all of the underlying evidence?
No, we took and accepted.
Did Mr. Rosenstein?
No, we accepted the statements in the report as the factual record. We did not go underneath it to see whether or not they were accurate. We accepted it as accurate and made our.
So you accepted the report as the evidence?
Yes.
You.
That right there has been a big point of contention I've seen in the media. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm completely on Barr's side when it comes to that, because the whole thing was Mueller had to make the decision on these things because Barr had this bias they were talking about. And then, so he just took...
So what he's saying is that he accepted Barr's, recommendations.
He accepted Mueller's report, physical report, as the evidence.
Yeah.
Because the bias that everyone says that he has for the Republican Party and everything like that. And he
does have Republican Party bias.
I believe that. So that's why he took Mueller's report on it as the evidence instead of looking at the evidence himself. And what they're getting at is with the collusion, the evidence is all there with the Mueller report that there was no collusion and whatnot with that. But the thing is, they're all on the fucking around with the actual investigation, impeding the investigation. And Barr said there was not enough information or evidence to make that conviction on Trump. And I don't know what you think about it, but my thing is, if Mueller's saying we don't have enough evidence, and then Barr says that, I don't see what the big problem is.
Well, Barr also, I think it's important to note that I am of the personal opinion that Barr did misrepresent the report in his summary.
How so?
Like he basically said that it completely exonerated Trump, where like in the report Mueller does mention a lot of stuff about obstruction of justice.
Right, but if Mueller, my thing is this: if Mueller's not gonna, so Mueller made the judgment, said there's no collusion, right? And then the obstruction.
Yeah, no collusion,
Right.
No conspiracy, but no obstruction of justice.
But the obstruction of justice, you have to prove that there was obstruction of justice. If you don't have enough evidence to put out a guilty of, with our system, you're innocent because you were not proven guilty.
Well, you would have a trial and enter evidence, and there is a whole debate on whether or not you can indict a sitting president. And it's been the policy of the Justice Department that you don't, for like most of the time. Like whether or not it's legal or not is a different debate than like whether or not it'll happen, but it's generally been the policy that like you don't indict a sitting president. Mm-hmm. And from my understanding of the Mueller report, on the collusion, there's not enough evidence, but on obstruction of justice, there might be.
Right, and you think there should be another trial? There should be a trial on the obstruction of justice?
Well, hold on. So this was kind of the point I was going to get into is Mueller's going to testify.
Right.
And Mueller's testimony, if it's bad enough, like that's the first step towards impeachment. And Barr doesn't want to testify, and he's probably going to be subpoenaed. They asked him to testify, which is not a legally binding thing, but when they subpoena him, it is legally binding.
Right.
So those two combined, like there is a path to impeachment here.
Right.
And obstruction of justice is what they got, what they impeached Bill Clinton for. Or is it impeach is just when you bring the charges up,
yeah,
right?
Impeachment doesn't get you out of office.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton finished out his presidency.
Yeah. Impeachment is when the House wants a trial and the Senate decides the verdict.
Yeah, something in those lines, because I know you don't actually get kicked out until like they decide that you're going to be indicted, I believe.
Yeah, so yeah, but I think if Mueller gives some really good testimony, good meaning for the Democrats, like what they want, which I think is very possible that it could happen.
I think what also is going to happen, because I got a video coming up with the Barr thing, is some of these questions that they ask they want yes or no answers to them, and they're questions that do not demand a yes or no answer. They need more context with the way that they phrase things. And then they try to, when they don't give a yes or no answer, they come up and go on the news and mainstream media and everything and try to get that narrative out that they're hiding something or yada yada. They wouldn't answer this question because they're...
But I want to make no mistake that this is not a partisan thing. It's not like the Democrats are the only people that do this. Like,
no, 100% agree with you. I'm just talking about this particular case, like how they're coming at this guy.
I've never seen someone be like this interrogative and inflammatory before in like when they're being questioned by the House. You know what I mean?
Yeah, before a trial.
Like if this was in a trial, like you couldn't talk to a witness like that.
Exactly.
You couldn't. You can't just cut them off. Like that's the other thing she did, which we'll see in a second, is she just cuts him off when he goes to answer some of her questions. Like, you can't do that. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
I don't know.
Okay, let's watch the rest of this. Oh, come on.
Did not question or look at the underlying evidence that supports the conclusions in the report.
No.
Did Mr. Rosenstein review the evidence that underlines and supports the conclusions in the report, to your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge. We accepted the statements in the report,
Did
and
anyone
the
in your-
characterization of the evidence is true.
Did anyone in your executive office review the evidence supporting the report?
No.
No. Yet you represented to the American public that the evidence was not, quote, sufficient to support an obstruction of justice offense.
The evidence presented in the report. This is not a mysterious process. In the Department of Justice, we have pros memos and declination memos every day coming up, and we don't go and look at the underlying evidence.
Sir, would you
we
support,
take the characterization of the evidence as true?
as the Attorney General of the United States, you run the United States Department of Justice. If in any U.S. Attorney's office around the country, the head of that office, when being asked to make a critical decision about, in this case, the person who holds the highest office in the land, and whether or not that person committed a crime, would you accept them recommending a charging decision to you if they had not reviewed the evidence?
And that's the thing I don't understand about this right here. Is
I was very confused about this. Sorry, go ahead.
well, they're pretending like they don't know that he was going to make his decision off of the Mueller report in the first place. And now
Are they saying that he has to do his like own investigation, that he can't like accept the Mueller report?
Yeah, in my thought on it is the Mueller report has not said what they want it to say. So they're looking for anything humanly possible to just like discredit everything about it at this
I think
point.
mostly. I think they still have a sliver of hope, and once he testifies, we'll know for sure.
Right.
But
that's next week, right?
I think so.
All right.
It's no, they said sometime in May.
Oh, in May.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sometime this month.
Cool. That's it. Just turn.
That's the last I heard about it. They might have given a more definite date.
They'll probably have it by the end of the month, most likely. All right, and then.
But yeah, what the fuck? You can't they hired him to do the report. Like, you can't criticize him for not accept I really don't get what she's trying to say here. Like, he's supposed to not accept what he says is true?
Yeah, I don't understand it at all either. And I think what they're trying to drive home is like what you were talking about, where he did pretty much just say, okay, yeah, we're not going to do any of the I keep forgetting the term, but when he's trying to prevent the actual justice coming down, what the fuck is the term? It starts with like an I.
Impeachment?
No, not impeachment. He's he's fucking around with the case.
Interfering?
No, I'm just an idiot. But that's just
It's
all
all
that
good.
is. I don't know why. And I took an Adderall before this too. I don't even know why I'm forgetting this.
Well, I'm not like a Barr fan, but he definitely looks good in this. He looks reasonable.
Yeah, and he looks.
I don't think someone that's not super partisan can be like, Kamala Harris destroys Robert Barr.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And there's things I hate Barr about. I mean, Barr is one of the main reasons why we have the surveillance state that we have nowadays. I mean, he worked under the Bush organization or administration back in the day, and he from what I know, he's the guy who wrote the reasoning report under the constitutionality of this surveillance state that we have today. And,
The NSA.
and like how moral it was or whatever. And
Yeah.
so that guy is directly responsible for the NSA and all the shit they're doing nowadays. And people want to forget that, or they don't know about it and want to just be a like you were talking about, a partisan jackass and just go like, oh, he's defending my guy Trump. He must be good. But
Yeah.
let's see. I think he also looks good in this next one that we got coming up.
Okay.
This is MSNBC, so I don't know. I hate MSNBC with a passion. But the way this thing gets framed is utterly hilarious to me.
Made it
I've seen
clear
a lot
that
of-
you've not looked
I've
at the
seen a lot
evidence.
of
We can move on.
prosecutors-
She ends
I
it
think
kinda
you've made it clear,
rude.
sir, that you've not looked at the evidence, and we can move on.
Chairman Adam Schiff of the House Intelligence Committee, who said this after watching Attorney General Barr's torturous explanations for a long list of misrepresentations. It's clear Barr views himself as Trump's lawyer, not America's lawyer. He was hired with an agenda to protect Trump, and Barr, like his boss, is grossly unfit for the office. William Barr has a tell. He has a tell when he's cornered. He has a giveaway, a signal when he is in trouble. And it's not in his manner, which is always very steady and seemingly calm. It's in the way he parries the question that is loaded with danger for him. The very first thing.
Exactly. It's not a tell at
Dude
all.
doesn't know what the fuck a tell is.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're just trying to figure
A
out.
tell
what
is
you're
a mannerism. He has a tell, but it's not a mannerism.
His tell is
Yeah.
he tries to figure out what exactly is being asked before he answers it.
I mean, you could have a tell that it's like before he lies, he says like he says some chain of words, but what the fuck is this guy talking about?
I have no idea. And he goes, they actually have an example.
He always does. You can watch this. The very first thing he does when he's in trouble is he asks for the question to be repeated. He does that every time. And he needs that time to think about what to say. And then after the question is repeated, he always latches on to one word in the question and then plays with that word to run away from answering the question. It happened a few times today. Let's watch William Barr's tell in action when he is asked a very important question that he obviously does not want to answer by Senator Kamala Harris.
Attorney General Barr, has the president or anyone at the White House ever asked or suggested that you open an investigation of anyone?
I did think this part was weird.
I wouldn't,
Yes or no?
could you repeat that question?
I will repeat it.
Yeah.
Has the president or anyone at the White House ever asked or suggested that you open an investigation of anyone? Yes or no, please, sir?
The president or anybody else?
Seems you would remember something like that and be able to tell us.
Yeah, but I'm trying to grapple with the word suggest. I mean, there have been discussions of matters out there that they have not asked me to open an investigation, but
Perhaps they've suggested,
I don't know. I wouldn't say suggest.
hinted.
I don't know.
That question is not a yes or no answer. That's very misleading. You can get
That
fucked over.
was the worst response by Barr, though.
Well,
Like when he
yeah.
says, "Can you repeat the question?" He knows what the fuck the question was. Come on.
Well, let's listen back to the question. I would definitely need to think about how.
Has
to
the
answer
president
this.
ever asked you to open an investigation into somebody?
That's not the whole
The
question.
word suggest.
It's
We'll repeat
different.
it. Has the president or anyone at the White House ever
Has the president or anyone at the White House
asked or suggested that you open an investigation of anyone? Yes.
that one right there? So anyone else at the White House and an investigation on anyone in general. My thought of this and how Barr's got to be thinking about it too. And when he's like, "Hey, can you say that again?" Because I'm trying to figure out how you're trying to fuck me right now. Because you gotta think someone's probably been in his ear saying something about investigating something somewhere. Maybe not.
But
even
also,
in
what
relation.
you hear is you do make a good point. Has Trump or anyone at the White House?
Anyone.
Now, if he said yes to that, the soundbite would be
Trump.
like asked him to open an investigation. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So you can't answer that with yes or no. And then, I mean, and later on, I don't have it on this clip, but he does try to, after he goes, I don't know, he tries to say something again. He goes, well, I will say this. And then she's like, I'm asking a question, sir. Like you were talking about interrupting. And
Yeah, she does interrupt a lot.
Yeah. But that people act like that's not what these things are. You're trying to ask leading questions and trying to get them to say yes or no to these leading questions so you can go a little further on them and get people in what they might even be lying, but they'll say it's a lie because they'll ask another leading question later and they'll give a yes or no or try to go a little deeper in, and it's gonna fuck them. That's all these things are.
Well, like the thing that stood out to me is like in a trial, this would be like cross-examination, like asking somebody a yes or no question, like, And you'd think that if you're trying to gather information and not make a point, you'd ask like open questions, like what was the general process for how you decided to prosecute or not prosecute somebody?
That's a good
You know
point.
what I mean?
But that's not what they want here. They want sound bites. And that's another thing. I don't think anyone here is looking for the truth. They're just looking for something that's going to help
Oh.
their personal power.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah. And then MSNBC's being extremely disingenuous, pretending like that's not what's going on.
Well, I thought this was I thought this made Barr look better than Kamala Harris, I think. But
I thought so as well.
But I mean, and I'm not a big Barr fan either, but I saw this, I was like, all right, that's a little bit, like, she was just straight up rude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right?
And, like, I get, like, asking yes or no questions and going, like, I really would like a yes or no answer on this. But to just interrupt him a bunch of times and be like, when he's trying to answer your question, like, that's just fucking rude.
Right. And it's amazing to me watching, like, the two news cycles where, like, Fox...
Oh, well, I'm sure Fox News is like, hero Robert Barr...
That's exactly what they're doing.
Valiantly defends himself against evil witch woman Kamala Harris.
Well, did you... I don't know if you watched Steven Crowder.
No, I kind of think he's a douchebag. I like his change my mind stuff, but...
I used to be a big Steven Crowder guy, like when I was getting first into politics. But
Yeah.
now, I mean, I'm slowly realizing, because he was doing the same thing. He literally was calling Barr a hero. And to ignore all the other things in his past he's done, and to kind of hype him up in the way, like, he's just a partisan guy, too.
He does, like, I like his change my mind stuff. Because I think that's a lot less, a lot less politically sided. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there is a point in at each one of those videos where he kind of, like, goes from open and accepting to,
I'm gonna make
like,
my
here's
point.
my conservative rhetoric, I'm going to spit in your face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, when I forget, I watched some video of him talking about his views, and he's just, like, a libertarian that thinks the only purpose of government should be property rights. And, like, that's not an interesting political opinion to me.
It's
you know what I
pretty
mean?
Interesting. I mean, that's an interesting.
I've heard it a million times.
Yeah,
it's very basic. You know what I mean? Like, I've heard he doesn't have some new argument.
Right. Right.
And I also don't like, one of the things I don't like that I think is like a big kind of dog whistle is, I think he was talking about, do you remember that, we've talked about on here before, that bakery that didn't want to bake like a gay cake. You know what I mean? A cake for a gay wedding.
Right.
And that's one thing where I'm like, I'm pretty much on one side of that debate. You know what I mean?
What's your debate? Or what's your side?
I think they should.
I don't think you should be forced to.
I don't know.
This is how I look at it. If you're going to imply that rule on that, you got to imply the rule on everything. So say some Nazi comes into your thing and they want a Nazi cake. I got to build a Nazi cake now?
Well, my opinion on that would be that being gay is, like, not a mutable characteristic, while an ideology that you follow is a mutable characteristic. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So, like, you couldn't say, I'm not baking a cake for a black wedding.
Say this. Muslim cake business, right? A Jewish guy comes in. They refuse to make a Jewish cake.
Yeah. That should be illegal.
You think they should be forced to make the Jewish cake?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I mean, you couldn't do that with black people. You couldn't go, well, I'm not baking a cake for a black wedding. That'd be horrible.
I think you, and this always comes in, you go like, oh, I think you should be allowed to do that. And everyone goes like, well, you would do that. No, I wouldn't do that. And I wouldn't support a business that would do that. But you should be able to freely associate with who you want to freely associate with. And I shouldn't be forced to make something of my own labor for somebody else.
Yeah, that's a very, like,
That's a very uninteresting opinion there, Ryan.
Well, I get what you're saying. Like, I think there are anti-discrimination laws for a reason. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because there used to be, you know, there used to be a high level of racism in this country, and people weren't like, well, I'm not going to go to your business if you make black people sit in a different section. It's like, no, those businesses did fine.
Well, I mean,
you know what I mean?
Back in the Jim Crow era, though, that was mandated by the government that you segregate people. I mean,
in the like 60s and stuff.
Yeah, but even before that, people were hiring, like, when slavery first got up, people were hiring black people. I mean, they were paying them less because they had less skills at the time, but people wanted to save money hiring blacks, so they would hire blacks. They'd get more skills, but then, since you could pay them a lower wage, more companies came in to make that profit in the area, started hiring more blacks, and made their labor a little worth more, so their prices came up. And then all of a sudden the minimum wage law came into place that fucked all that up, and then everyone could just be racist again. If we got to pay the whites and the blacks the same, they're gonna hire the whites. But like you could see, Thomas Sowell has a thing in his book about it. You can literally see every year the black wages coming up to almost the exact same amount as whites, and then the minimum wage law got put in place with all the unions.
True, but I think there are. I think there are sometimes fringe groups that like deserve certain rights. Like, I think if you want to operate as a business, there are certain things you have to do, and not discriminating against gay people, I don't think is an undue burden on business.
I think it directly worsens race relations by forcing people to interact with people they don't want to. Because then, when you're doing that, then other politicians come in, see all this kind of this thing that these people think is bullshit, and they use that hatred that they have now being forced to do something, and then they vote for that person in to put in policies that affect that other group that they don't like anymore. When if you just left them to their own device, and they went and bought something else somewhere else, or that place went out of business because people don't want to fuck with them, I feel like these things naturally would fix themselves out if we stopped trying to force everybody together all the time and just let.
But they didn't.
What do you mean they didn't? We didn't let it naturally work out. The blacks were coming up in the same amount of wage compared to the whites back in the day. Then we put them in wage law.
There was in the 60s. It was not mandated that there had to be segregation, and the free market didn't determine that segregation was bad.
Yes, but you also have that time period during Jim Crow where you put all these people and started segregating them, and the government got in their head, like that's all they've known their whole life, and then they just kept going like that. I mean, that's not a thing you can just break tomorrow.
It's a weird, like there is some basic stuff though that the free market can't fix.
I agree. And
I think when you have that's the whole reason for the laws, is if the free market could fix it, you wouldn't need the law, right?
I think the free market was fixing it, and then we fucked with it.
Hold on, the minimum wage argument is different than anti-discrimination arguments.
No, it's not. Because I believe that, because when you put that minimum wage in, they started hiring the whites instead of the blacks, right? And you can see the black unemployment go down. So now there's less places where people are working, where they're working with people of the other race. So there's less interaction day to day. You get less friendships being built and more division because you actually don't know what's going on in that person's life and you don't talk to them. And that happens over years, and then the government makes it a law that has to happen. And then you never get to talk to each other. It completely divides you. And then when all of a sudden the law gets taken away, everyone's stuck in that old mindset, and it's going to take a while for it to do the whole process again, for people to be talking to each other. I mean, that's why like shows like this and where you can talk to other people are going to be so great in the future. But we had 40, 50 years after that kind of shit where you couldn't even do it. That makes sense?
I don't think getting rid of anti-discrimination laws will make people of different races come together more.
It will help you.
That is like
it'll-
Occam's razor. This one, Ryan. Like what you're saying could be true,
Mhm.
but like first off, there's no way to test that or know it.
Wouldn't we
And
rather?
the simpler answer is, hey, if people can't discriminate anymore, it'll probably bring people more together.
Wouldn't we rather just have everything out in the open, though? I want to know who's racist than just having people be able to assume all the time. If we just know who's racist and we know who's not going to serve black people at their place of work, then they can stop group identifying everybody and going, oh, all white people are racist. No, that guy that won't serve black people is a fucking racist. I'm not supporting him. I'm not a racist.
Yeah, but there are parts of the country where that person would be able to have a successful business and not serve certain groups of people.
Okay.
Like that one bakery didn't ever serve gay people, and they did fine.
I think they served gay people. They just wouldn't make an abruptly gay cake.
I mean, it was a wedding cake for a gay wedding.
Okay.
This is a weird argument, but I don't know. But I saw Steve, back to the point, I saw Steven Crowder's whole stance on that, and like, I don't know, man. He just kind of seems like a douche. Like he wouldn't be somebody I'd want to get like a beer with. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean,
Like he seems like he would be a complete asshole at a bar.
right. There's things I've seen about like him firing his whole crew and all that jazz. I mean, I don't know anything about their personal stuff in there.
Oh, I believe it.
But like just backstabbing everybody, then getting involved with Glenn Beck, and kind of selling his entire like startup crew out to like for that money grab.
Yeah, well, he's a capitalist, if nothing else.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, let's get back to the bar shit.
Sorry, yeah, back to the bar.
We do degrade sometimes into stuff, but that was a good conversation. All right.
Or no, please, sir.
The president or anybody else?
Seems you would remember something like that and be.
Seems you remember something like that. It's like, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how you're trying to throw me in jail right now. I'm going to be very
definitely
careful.
don't let the person think about the question. That would be bad.
Right, right.
Like,
Able
you're
to
not
tell us.
allowed to.
Go ahead.
If you don't have perfect memory recall, you're an agent of obstruction of justice. Obviously,
That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, but I'm trying to grapple with the word suggest. I mean, there have been discussions of matters out there that they have not asked me to open an investigation, but
Perhaps they've suggested,
I don't know. I wouldn't say suggest.
hinted.
I don't know.
but look at that. That's
I
such
don't
a
know.
reach.
Yeah. She just keeps
Wouldn't say when they haven't asked. Suggested? No. Hinted?
Did they think about asking you? I have no
yeah,
idea.
like, come on. I'm not even like a big Kamala Harris hater too. Like, I think she's fine. You know, Tyler thinks that she's, you know,
Like Satan.
prosecutor putting people in the gulag and stuff.
Right.
But I don't dislike her. But this whole thing, she just looked like a fucking asshole.
Mm-hmm. And then this part's pretty funny to me too.
That's the best he could do. William Barr knows.
How this news? Like that's the best you can do. Like what a dickhead thing to do.
Who the fuck is this guy
I
even?
don't even know his name. I don't really
Look
watch.
at him. He
look-
looks like an actor that plays a CEO in a movie.
He looks like an alien.
Yeah, he doesn't look. I don't know.
He looks like, or either he's pulling like a fake thing over his head for his mask, or this dude has had so much Botox that he is near death or blind. I think he might be blind at this point from all the Botox, and they just kind of walk him into the newsroom.
His eyes look dead. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I mean, if you gotta lie to the nation every single day for millions of dollars, I could understand why your eyes might be dead.
Oh, fair enough.
How to give a yes or no answer.
Is the White House exerting any influence on your decision whether to allow Special Counsel Mueller to testify in Congress and when?
No.
That's hilarious to me. He knows how to say yes or no. Check this out. A very straightforward question. Nah.
Hold on. I'm sure there's a follow-up.
Oh, man.
Desired result not achieved.
Let's see.
The time to watch William Barr is when he's given a yes or no question and he does not answer yes or no. What aspects of the Attorney General's testimony?
Oh, man. And this is another segment they had with Schmidt, I think his name is. I forget his name. But they're trying to get him on lying already. So it's kind of, I think this is kind of why he didn't show up to this most recent little hearing. Because they're already trying to, like, get him under perjury.
Yeah, but they're just going to subpoena him.
Oh, yeah, they're going to get him in there, but... Because I think what they were doing is they were trying to... Because it's supposed to be Congress asking you the questions. They wanted to get all these lawyers in to ask questions.
Well, it's the House asking you questions. And it's been, yeah, I think that was one of the contentious points was it's generally been accepted practice that the Judiciary Committee can get a lawyer to ask questions, and Robert Barr said he wouldn't answer questions from a lawyer.
See, I've heard
which,
that.
like, on some technicality, you're allowed to do because they aren't technically a member of Congress or whatever.
Yeah, I've heard the opposite. Like, it's not typical. And I saw something where they were arguing, and they're like, well, we had this happen to a Democrat like a year ago. You all were all fine with it, which, of course, they were all fine with it. They were Republicans, and it was happening to a Democrat who gave a shit. But that person should have done the same thing back then and just said, like, hey, fuck y'all. We're going to do what we want to do. You're going to sit here and go across the rules. We ain't coming.
Dude, like, I don't like these complete breakdowns of norms. Just reminds me of Mitch McConnell, the fucking dickhead.
Oh yeah, that guy sucks.
Like it's just people playing absolute cutthroat, like winner take all politics, which I don't think benefits anybody.
It benefits them. It doesn't benefit any of us.
But dude, I think it is suspicious. Like, I think Barr definitely has something to hide. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I mean,
like, I'm not a big Barr fan. I'm a bigger Kamala Harris fan than I am a Barr. But
well, I got Andrew Napolitano or
No.
Napolitano. Oh, he's a big. He was on Fox News. He's a big attorney. He's trying to get in the Supreme Court. I heard. But he's a really respected attorney when it comes to just like calling it like it is.
Yeah.
Whether or not Republican or Democrat, he's actually against Barr. I got a clip from him in a little bit too, and he swayed my opinion on it. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, he is definitely in Trump's camp.
No, he's not in Trump's camp. That's what's
no, Barr.
Oh, Barr, you mean?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
There's don't really need any debate about that. Like,
right.
I don't know. He's on a side.
No, I agree with that.
Testimony today, did you have your strongest personal reaction to?
Well, look, I think he testified very plainly, falsely, previously to Congress. So first he misled the country with his false summaries, and then he came into Congress and he was asked, are you aware of reservations by the Mueller team? And his answer was, again, as you say, an unequivocal no. That was just flat out false, and he knew it. One thing you have to recognize in Barr, he's not a stupid man. He's a very smart lawyer. He understood exactly what was being asked of him, and he deliberately misled the Congress. This is the highest law enforcement officer in the country. And when he was asked about that today, to try to suggest that, well, I was talking about Mueller's team when I answered that question, not Mueller, that's absurd. And I'll tell you, if he was overseeing a prosecution for perjury, he would never accept that kind of bogus explanation.
And the thing with that is, man, you're never going to get anything out of these things because even stuff as stupid as that, they're trying to, he wants to be able to throw Barr in jail because of that, for lying to Congress, when that's all, you can't prove that he knew, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get him for lying to Congress. I think it's all on Mueller testifying now.
Yeah,
that one I think is going to be real. Like, this one was
this is
this was just a political stunt.
Yeah, this is just points.
Next time they do it, they're gonna try and get some real factual stuff. And when Mueller comes on, I hope it's not just a political stunt. I hope they actually like get some hard evidence that they can use either way. You know what I mean?
Right. I can assure you, Parker. Well, I can't assure you, but I have no hope that it's not going to be just a political stunt.
Well, when I say that, I mean 99. Like this was like 100% political. Like Mueller and the next Barr one. I mean, even if there's only 10% of truth in there, that still is like that's an advancement. You know what I mean?
From
that's
what-
like
yeah.
moving forward with either impeaching Trump or not impeaching Trump. You know.
I don't know. And then
But what I really hate is they're gonna just have impeachment until the day he fucking leaves office. Like,
yeah, they're just gonna keep saying it.
like, and I mean, Republicans were horrible to Obama, but they didn't constantly make serious moves to try and impeach him the entire time he was in office.
When there were things that you could have easily impeached him for.
Like what?
I don't know, like, well, the Congress did give their authority up, but that War Powers Act is complete and utter bullshit and unconstitutional. If you had a Congress that was worth a damn, well, actually, all the Congress would have had to leave too, because it was illegal for them to give up their powers for him to start the wars in Yemen and shit like that. So, never mind. I'm an idiot. They're all just corrupt, and because they gave their power up to Obama, they would have never done anything like that. And that pisses me off too, because never did we ever think, like, when the Founding Fathers wrote the Constitution out, did they think that one branch of the government would literally make legislation to give up their powers to another branch of the government?
Yeah.
Like
Which you can't do.
They just fucked everything up. Everyone that voted yes for that should be thrown in jail.
Well, so like the real problem is the U.S. wants to go to war because of the military-industrial complex and because they want to protect resources, right? But to go to war, you need a unanimous declaration.
Yeah.
Right? And you can never get that. What you can get is a majority in, you know, and so it's very stupid that like that's completely subverting the fact that you're supposed to have a unanimous decision to go to war.
Well, I mean, now it's...
But you would never get it, though. That's the thing, is you would never go to war.
Yeah, well, with that...
Which would be cool.
Yeah, it would be great, wouldn't it? Well, even...
Hey, it's almost like the Founding Fathers saw that people profited off of war.
Yeah, had an idea.
But did you see Ted Cruz's part? Did you put that in?
No, I didn't even watch that. What happened?
Oh, well, he's just doing the other side where he's like, I'm so sorry you had to, you know, that the Democrats are obviously doing all this stuff, you know what I mean? He's just sucking his dick.
Right.
And not asking him any questions.
Like
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's sad.
And I don't know.
And if it was a Democrat DOJ up there or anything, they would be the exact same way as the Democrats are right now. Just howling, just barking. But this guy from Tennessee, this is my favorite thing of all time. Watch. So he's upset that Barr didn't show up, and this is how he's gonna sock it to him and make his point.
Student of government all my life. I watched the Watergate hearings from the beginning to the end. This smacks so much of Watergate. An attorney general like John Mitchell, who believes the president is above the law. That is not America. The president is not above the law, and if the president thinks that the special counsel investigation is a witch hunt, he cannot stop it. But our attorney general thinks so. Chicken Barr should have shown up today and answered questions. He was afraid of Barry Burke. He was afraid of Norm Eisen. An attorney general who is picked for his legal acumen and his abilities would not be fearful of any other attorneys questioning him for 30 minutes. This man was picked to be Roy Cohn and to be Donald Trump's fixer. The Black Sox look clean compared to this team. It's a sad day in America.
I'm joined now by Congressman...
What the fuck are the Black Sox?
The Black Sox are a freaking... I don't know. It's just like a dirty sock, I guess. But I hate that guy with a huge bad. He thought that was going to be so cool.
What, bringing out the chicken?
Yeah, Chicken Barr.
Chicken Barr.
He just pulled a Trump, giving somebody a nickname.
Exactly, dude. He knows exactly what the
That's
fuck
exactly
he did.
what he did. He goes, "Oh, this will get me some votes. This is nice." And acting like Barr's like Marty McFly. Oh, gonna call me a chicken. I'll be right there.
How dare you? No, but dude, that's crazy.
Side note:
is there more?
Yes, there
this
is.
dude looks a little bit like my uncle. It's kind of scary.
He looks like Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, he
Look
does.
at him. Look at him. This man looks exactly like Benjamin Franklin. He even has like the little glasses to emphasize it.
Well, he has the exact same hairline.
And the way his jaw like kind of starts falling over, like his cheeks fall over his jaw because he's getting old. Same thing as well.
That's funny.
Oh man, and you know damn well he wakes up in the morning and is just like and thinks about how much he looks like Benjamin Franklin and knows it plays well in Tennessee.
He really likes $5 bills. Wait, no,
$100
bill. What the fuck am I talking about?
Yeah, we can tell you're poor.
Huh?
We can tell you're poor. All right, so here we go.
Steve Cohen, Democrat from Tennessee and a member of the House Judiciary Committee. Congressman, thanks for joining us.
Dude.
You're welcome.
Look how proud he is. Look how proud he is right there. He even brought KFC chicken in, by the way, and started eating it.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
See it right there? And he's just like, yeah, I get this. Oh, yeah, we're getting them. He's so proud.
Welcome. Nice to be
We
with
are
you.
looking at images of you at that committee hearing today. What appears to be a bucket of fried chicken. And oh, there it is.
He just brought it up. I'm disgusted how proud this guy is of this.
You brought props, I see, with you here. What is the message you're trying to send?
Look at how awkwardly he's holding it, too.
Yeah, and he's like shaking.
He's like, it's my prop.
Yeah, I have it. And listen to the way that he talks.
The chicken. He was chicken to come to the House Judiciary Committee, face the
What is the message you're trying to send?
The message is that Bill Barr is a chicken. He was chicken to come to the House Judiciary Committee, face the members of the committee, and also face 30 minutes from counsel that would have been difficult for him to respond to because he stands on shaky ground. His legal...
Do you hear how he's like pausing a lot?
Yeah.
I think he's like just figuring out how stupid the chicken thing is. Like, you know what I mean?
He's figuring it out in real time.
Yeah, he's like, oh man, this is dumb.
I hope this becomes a regular thing, though.
What, people just bringing props in?
Just bring in props. Just like, and food.
Literally trying to make rhymes like their WWE promos.
Hey, that's literally idiocracy right there.
Yeah, oh my god. That is idiocracy. It's a guy doing stupid shit trying to dress like a smart guy back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, we're here.
We've been there for a while, Ryan.
But I just realized it.
We'll start watering the crops with Gatorade pretty soon. Don't you worry.
Welcome to Costco's. I love you. Oh man.
Are very, very obscure and rare and questionable, and his facts are false. He lies. He tries to defend the president at all costs, and he did not want to go again, as he did before the Senate, and be exposed as a liar and a fixer and a cover-up for Donald Trump.
I'm challenged.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Make sure when you're accusing someone of being a chicken, too, that you trip over every single fucking word that you say. He's a he's a liar and a chicken. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
Oh, man.
Did you not practice this?
I'm telling you,
like,
man.
There's no way they didn't give him the question before.
Right, yeah, these things are all set up prior. Like, you know what's going to happen when you go on.
He knows exactly what he's going to say, and he's a chicken.
I'm telling you right now, he realized how stupid it was while he was talking. That's exactly
that would be hilarious.
He's like, "Oh man, I'm a failure." Like, not a failure. He is a congressman or whatever.
He probably thought it was this huge political statement too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like no one's ever brought KFC into the goddamn house before.
Oh yeah, I even ate it in front of him.
But can you do that? Are there no rules? Can you just bring whatever the fuck you want in and like could?
I don't
Dude.
know the rules. I imagine. I mean, he did it. No one. First of all, even if it was a rule, he couldn't bring food in. I highly doubt that's the time that they would take a hard stand, like on the rules. You know, and it's not like the rules.
Wouldn't that be great if they did though, and we got to see it? Like they're like, no, you can't bring food in,
and he got kicked out or something, or lost his position,
and he's just sitting out there like, Barr's a chicken.
I'm just imagining him out there.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Eating his KFC in like a corner.
Just getting hit by lightning.
Getting hit by lightning. Yeah. Shut the fuck up. Inventing kites.
Oh, man. Benjamin Franklin is rolling in his grave knowing that guy looks like him.
Benjamin Franklin would have fucked that guy's wife. Let's be honest.
Probably. I feel like Benjamin, because back in the day, everyone was just, it was just debauchery back in the day.
Well, Ben was known for it.
Was he?
Yeah, he went to France. He fucked he had every STD basically that you could get.
Jesus, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, having sex was terrible back in the day.
Oh yeah,
just imagine that. No condoms.
Yeah, and no hygiene.
No hygiene.
No hygiene whatsoever. No one ever washed anything. Unless you were rich.
He was a huge hypocrite too. I said early to bed, early to rise, makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. He partied every day, got up late. He did not follow his own advice at all.
That is funny. Well, I mean, a lot of those people are like that.
I mean, I think he had 3 illegitimate children.
Really?
Too.
Just doing rails of coke, signing the
or whatever the equivalent would be, opium.
Yeah.
Oh, they probably all did that stuff, though.
Okay, this is something that Judge Napolitano I was talking about. He actually makes a good case against Barr, and this is on a pretty libertarian network, Reason Magazine. So, this did kind of sway my opinion on everything.
Him on whether or not there was enough basis to prosecute him for obstruction of justice, and there clearly was. The reason, in my view, Bob Mueller did not ask for permission to seek an indictment, and under the Bill Barr managerialship of the DOJ, you had to ask the Attorney General for permission to seek the indictment, as Barr has this bizarre, narrow view of the obstruction statutes, which would have caused Barr to say, no, I'm not going to let you go to a grand jury with this. In Attorney General Barr's view, it is impossible to commit obstruction unless you actually committed the crime being violated and you're trying to obstruct efforts to investigate the crime that you committed.
So Barr is saying because there was no conspiracy, there couldn't be any obstruction.
Correct.
Trying
now,
to make sure that you don't
if this
get found
were
guilty
so, then Richard Nixon couldn't be charged with obstruction of justice unless he was actually one of the Watergate burglars under Barr's theory. That's how absurd it is. We also know that it's been rejected uniformly. Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick of Detroit was convicted of obstruction of justice for interfering with an investigation into his extramarital affair, not a crime. Martha Stewart was convicted famously of obstruction of justice for interfering with a prosecution of her for insider trading, even though the insider trading charges against her had been dismissed.
So I agree with everything that he said there. I think the way that Barr looks at it is, I think the only way he looks at it that way is because he's pretty much for the Republican Party.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I feel as if he would change his tune if it was a Democrat up there.
But I think the real problem is, how does this play out? So the House could definitely impeach Trump today, if they wanted.
I don't think they'd have the votes.
I think they would. But
I mean,
the Senate would not convict him.
Why do you think they'd have the votes? I mean, they only. How many more Democrats do they have than Republicans? It's a very slim margin of majority for them, and you need what, 3/4?
I don't think you need 3/4.
I think you probably need I think it's a lot that you need. You don't need 2 guys going yeah, let's get rid of them.
I think you just need a majority.
Look that up.
I'm gonna look it up. How many need to impeach? 2/3 supermajority.
2/3. Okay, so like 66%.
Yeah.
That's still, they don't have 66%, and no Republican's gonna vote for it.
Hold on. Let me look up.
You trying to look at the numbers of the?
Yeah. It's 197 to 235. Yeah, you're right. I'm completely wrong.
Yeah, you dick.
But let's see. Let's see what percent that is. 235 plus 197 is 432. 235 divided by.
It's in the 50s, like 50.
2. I know this is the most interesting thing you've ever seen on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. They only have 54%.
Exactly. Like you're not gonna get a single Republican to vote for that. You would need this next election to.
But even if they did, like, you get to the Senate, and they aren't going to convict him.
Well, yeah, that's true because they have the majority up there. So yeah, it's not gonna happen anyway. So bringing that up, you're gonna lose it. I don't think it'd be a good political thing because then it would just be over. You can't impeach him. You don't impeach him, and you keep talking about impeaching him. Then you get more people to rally around you for votes.
Well, the whole thing is right now. But if Mueller says some really bad stuff,
I don't foresee it, but because
I could see it. I think he's very like I don't want to say regal, but like austere, and like he's very polite. The word isn't polite, but like respects the positions of government.
Yeah,
and that's why I don't think he was as scathing like in his report. But I think if you get Democrats asking him yes or no leading questions, you can get him to say some pretty bad stuff.
Right. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to be nothing as usual, but hey, man, if it does, it's going to be fucking big.
But I mean, all right, but the whole thing's a shit show because, all right, you somehow impeach Trump and you convict him. Now you have Pence. Like, he's not any better.
Pence is probably worse. Like,
he hates gay people way more than Trump.
Yeah, and Trump doesn't even hate gay people.
Well, no matter how much Trump hates gay people, Pence hates gay people way more than Trump.
Right.
Like, he wants to, like, electrify gay people. I forget what. I think he did. He's, like, a proponent of shock conversion therapy.
I've heard that, too. I don't subscribe to that bullshit right there. I don't think anyone believes in the shock therapy nowadays. Well, don't get me wrong. I shouldn't say anyone.
Dude,
because they were saying the same thing with Gabbard from Hawaii.
Tulsi Gabbard?
Yeah.
Oh, there was a whole thing. There was a whole thing that. Did you hear about her like staff quitting or threatening resignation?
No, why?
I think it was something to do with wages. Like either they weren't being paid enough or they wanted to unionize. And let me look it up.
You sure it wasn't they listened to our podcast and they heard you going, they're from Hawaii. They're never gonna win. And then they were like,
they're
yeah,
not.
He's right.
They're not gonna win.
Oh my god, he's right.
Tulsi Gabbard staff.
Obama was born in Hawaii. Look what happened to him.
Yeah, but he got the fuck out of there because he was smart. You can run from Illinois. I mean, then you have a base in Chicago.
That's the crazy thing about him being from Illinois. Like, Illinois is known as like the most corrupt state, right? Like,
well, yeah, I mean, it's where all the big crime was.
It's literally called the Windy City because of the corruption. I thought it was because it was really windy up there. No, I'm an idiot. It's because like all of the politicians just go wherever the wind blew with the money. Or something like that. Yeah, I didn't know that, but it's literally the name of that because it's so corrupt and it's
I think it's also very windy though.
Well, yeah, it's also very windy. And because I just watch football, I know the Bears and I see like when whenever it hits November, somebody has a kick that goes
the kickoff goes backwards sometimes.
Yeah, or they have like a 30-yard field goal, and you're like, oh man, this one's good. They're gonna make it. It starts going straight. You're like, yeah, and then all of a sudden it looks like Jesus came down and went, fuck the Bears.
Dude, I always hated the Bears because I was a Packers fan for some reason growing up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but back on point. Tulsi, we gotta talk too. Biden is leading the polls now.
Right.
I think he's gonna get the nomination, man.
And wow,
It's gonna suck.
I think it's gonna be Bernie.
I don't know. I think the establishment Democrats are so afraid of him.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think they're gonna be able to fuck him again. Didn't they get rid of the superdelegates? And a number of them, I think they might still have, like, some states have them, but I think a number of states got rid of the superdelegate situation.
But, I mean, they also fucked him in other ways, where they gave, Hillary, like, questions beforehand and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I have no doubt that's going to happen.
I just hope it's Trump versus Bernie. I don't want Biden versus Trump.
Well, Biden's just going to be the same old, same old. He's going to be just like Obama. Nothing's going to change.
And he did a bunch of terrible stuff. I didn't know about that, but he voted against gay rights a bunch of times, which Hillary Clinton did too. Yeah. Because I guess back then you couldn't be pro-gay rights.
Yeah, you wouldn't win.
You wouldn't win. Which, I'm not, I get that, to win in politics, you have to compromise some of your beliefs to, actually win the election.
Which is sad.
Except Bernie didn't.
Oh, he didn't? Oh, he didn't?
No.
Oh, okay.
He has a very good voting record.
Just got knowingly fucked up out of the election, and then decided to hold his tongue as he watched these corrupt people he's talked against his entire life go on to run in the race. You're right. Yeah, grade A
He
there,
He saw it as a lesser of two evils.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well,
then he's dead to me. Gotta be looking at things like that.
What? Yeah, you don't like Bernie? Oh, yeah, of course you don't like Bernie.
No, I think he's a flaming hypocrite.
How is he a hypocrite?
I just expressed it. I just expressed how.
Because he asked people to vote for Hillary Clinton?
Yes.
Yeah, because...
You traitor to your movement. And then, when your whole life's goal is to get a legitimate third-party thing running, you could have done that this year, and then you run again as a Democrat, just to keep the whole status quo going again. Good job, Bernie. Good job of going back on everything you ever said you were talking about.
He did more to advance his beliefs just by running, though. You have to talk about socialized healthcare now as a Democrat. I think he did a lot.
Yeah, I'm not saying he didn't do a lot. He did a whole lot. But what I'm saying is, I don't think he's the guy that goes in and does this. I think the second he gets in there, he goes like everybody else. Like how Obama did, where like the things he says he's going to do, he's not going to do.
Yeah, I think it is. You do have to over-campaign to a degree, but if anybody was going to do it, Bernie has been talking about this stuff way before almost any of the other Democratic candidates,
right. Yeah, and I agree with you.
I think he's a real person. I think he's way less of a politician than almost anybody else in Congress.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he believes what he says,
Yeah, and I don't like a lot of his ideas, so that's also, even if I did believe him,
yeah,
I don't support him ideologically.
Yeah,
especially when he went, in one of those debates when he was running, when he just went full on, what'd he say? He went full on identity politics, where he was talking about, white people don't know what it's like to be poor. Dude, there's a fuck ton of poor whites in this country.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of thing, the whole middle of the country, if he gets the nomination against Trump, that's just going to be played nonstop. So,
yeah.
Yeah, so I don't even know if he'd beat Trump at that point. With all, because you're going to anger a lot of poor white people saying that kind of shit.
Biden can't beat Trump, though.
Yeah.
He's too safe.
Yeah, he's not going to beat Trump at all. I don't see... Who gets excited about Biden?
No one.
Tyler's talked about this when he was on here. No one wants to go out and vote for Biden.
Well, I've said it again and again. Bernie is the only Democrat with a base. He has a base. No one else does. Like Andrew Yang seems to be really popular, among the people that like him.
I would vote for Andrew Yang. If he got the nomination, I would vote for Andrew Yang over Donald Trump.
But he wouldn't. He's not going to get the nomination.
Well, if he goes on there and he just keeps going, we're going to give everyone $1,000, even if he never does it, he's going to get some votes. Because that's even further than a lot of other people are saying.
I mean,
I really do feel the Democratic nomination is whoever says we're going to give the most free shit wins.
That's not true. Hillary Clinton said she'd give less free shit than Bernie.
Yeah, they had to rig the election for her.
Fair enough. Good point. Good point. Sometimes you make good points, Ryan Grimes.
I make a lot of good points on numerous occasions. Maybe.
All right. Well, what do we got next?
Let's see. Oh well, we can stay on the Bernie situation since we're on him. You've heard. I don't think I posted this earlier, but have you heard the things where Bernie was talking about people in jail should be allowed to vote?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? Because I'm completely against that.
I don't know. I think it's an interesting idea. I think it's definitely a cunning political move for Democrats. I'm guessing I'm going to go out on a limb here and say a lot of people in jail are for Democrats.
And why? And why?
Because Democrats are generally less harsh on crime. Yep,
that makes sense to me.
Which I'm definitely for being less harsh on crime, especially for drug offenses and stuff.
Yeah, we'd agree full-heartedly on that.
Yeah. I don't know. Other countries do it.
My thing is this. If he was talking about... Because my understanding is he wants them to be able to vote while they're in jail.
Yeah.
I don't think you should lose your right to vote after you get out of jail like it is.
Yeah, you definitely shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I'm down for you've done the time and you've paid the penalty for the thing that you did. Now you get all your rights back.
Yeah.
But while you're in there, if we're going to restrict your freedom of movement, your freedom of deciding what happens in the culture in the country also goes away because you fucked up.
Well, the one thing I'll say is I don't think it's gonna form this super powerful voting bloc that a lot of people on the right are talking like it's gonna be. People in prison can't just vote themselves out of prison. I don't think they have the power to do that.
Well, I mean, if a candidate came up, and also I would be for something like this, if a candidate came up and wanted to expunge all non-violent crimes or whatever, and go okay, we're gonna pardon all those people for non-violent drug offenses.
Oh yeah.
Which seems like a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Every single one of them are getting those votes. So actually, if they did get to vote, we would probably see that happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's see. Now I'm thinking, because if they did get to vote, that thing that I
what happened
is a
that you
good
want to
thing.
happen.
Yeah. See, now that's my own little personal bias.
But it's I'd have to think about it more, because you have to ask why aren't people in prison allowed to vote? And it's I don't know.
But then everyone goes immediately some murderer is going to decide what's going on. It's okay, maybe violent criminals don't get to vote.
Well, but that's a weird distinction. But also, what was the one they said that was hilarious? They're would you let Wayne Gacy vote? Did you see that town hall with Bernie?
Yeah, I did.
Oh my god, dude. That was pretty fucking bad.
Yeah.
Would you let Hitler vote?
Yeah, wasn't it the Unabomber or something?
What the fuck?
Yeah, the Unabomber should be allowed to vote.
That is an unanswerable question right there.
What if he just were yes, I do think the Unabomber should be allowed to vote.
He just goes, I'm very good friends with the Unabomber.
The Unabomber, he's been in there for 50 years. He's changed.
He's changed.
He's changed. He's not bombing anything anymore.
I honestly could go either way. I think they're good. I definitely think once you're out, you should be allowed to vote. I mean, that just makes sense.
I think we take it incrementally and we do that. That would be the legislation I would support first. Is when you're out, you get your right to vote again. Because I think that's bullshit. Because don't even non-violent criminals lose their right to vote once they're out?
If they're felons, I think.
So
I think it's felons. So if you have misdemeanors, you get to keep your guns and you get to keep your vote.
Right.
Wait, what are felons allowed to?
Well, I mean, if you got caught with drugs 3 times, you got the 3 strike law, you're a felon now. Right?
Yeah.
So, what the fuck? You're losing your right to vote even though you never harmed anybody. You're not doing anything really wrong.
Oh, hold on. We're completely misinformed.
Oh, what happened?
Individuals convicted of a felony are ineligible to vote while in prison, on parole, or on probation. Voting rights are automatically restored 2 years after the completion of all supervised release.
Oh, God. Okay.
Except if they're convicted of treason.
Even if it's like a very violent crime?
Yeah, but if they could be on probation for their whole life, you know what I mean?
Right. I don't know. I think if you commit a violent act, you should lose that right forever.
I don't know. I don't see the reasoning for that.
Like attempted murder or something like that, or
what does that have to do with you voting?
I don't know. You're a fucking crazy person. I don't want you.
I think they're unrelated. Like you punish them with jail time. You don't need to punish them in other ways. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to admit, you can't like you want to judge it just on the merits of should people in prison be allowed to vote. You want to go, we're only going to talk about whether or not that but you can't like ignore the consequences that it probably would. I'm assuming too. I haven't seen any statistics, so I could be wrong. Maybe everyone in jail is like a conservative, but it probably would give more votes to Democrats.
Well, yeah, well, because
but also you have to the justice system is racist. You know what I mean? I think so, at least.
Right. Okay.
So, I don't know.
I feel like there'd be immediately legislation that says, like, forcing companies to hire criminals when they come.
Oh, that you couldn't discriminate against someone's.
Not even just discriminating. I mean, like mandates to hire certain people.
Ex-cons.
Yeah. Because it's pretty difficult to get a job once you come out.
Huh?
It's pretty difficult to get a job once you come out.
Yeah, it's really, but yeah, that's one of the worst
Nobody
parts.
wants to be fucking with that.
Yeah.
But it's like you went to jail for theft. I can understand why somebody doesn't want to hire you.
But like also like I get why they wouldn't want to do that for like a while, but I mean I don't know. That's the problem is like people don't want to think other people change, you know?
Right. And then
but I mean imagine Ryan Grimes. You got arrested in the 60s for marijuana possession and you went to jail for 20 years. Like sometimes you just think about how fucked up that is.
Oh, trust
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I got sentiment. I got sentimental value with that one, but like that specific situation is fucked up. But then, I mean, and you should hire that guy once he gets out, just to give him a shot.
Oh yeah.
But like my example of like a thief, someone who stole from a company or something, and then went to jail for that. You kind of fucked yourself forever, man. Like. That you, even if you've changed, like everyone's gonna know that you did steal from your employer.
Yeah, but I don't think it should be like that. I think people need to be more like forgiving of, you know, because I think people can change. They do change, you know. I mean, I've changed. I stopped stealing and selling drugs. You know.
When were you selling drugs?
No, I'm just kidding.
Jesus.
I haven't murdered somebody in years, Ryan Grimes.
Oh, man. I used to be so good at getting away with murders. Haven't done it so long, I'd probably get caught.
Yeah, this Barr guy seems like an amateur compared to me.
Oh, shit. Okay. What else we got here? Oh, go into this gaming as a service thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would need you to explain a little bit more. Because right off the video that you sent me, it's kind of... My understanding of it, and let me know if I'm wrong, is that this dude believes, like, say a video game company has a video game, like, say, Madden 07. And you're playing Madden 07. And then it's current day, or like two years later, they take these Madden 07 servers down. He's saying that company is committing fraud for taking that server down. because it's something that you bought this tangible product, and now it's like programmed default or whatever he said. I forget what he said.
So he makes a couple of. So on the surface, it seems kind of like a weird argument, right?
Mm-hmm.
He makes a couple of important points, which is that courts have ruled that video games and digital media are a product and not a service. Netflix is a service, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you buy a movie, right, like that isn't a service, even if companies want to say it is,
Yeah,
right?
That's a good.
It's a good.
You physically own that; it's yours.
So, so what they are talking about, like to give your example, you're talking about Madden, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, oh, I can't play, I can't play online anymore. It would be like if you bought Madden digitally, and there was a and like you paid $60 and it was on your like PS4 or whatever, right? And 3 years later, and it has DRM, which means you have to be online to play it, which a lot of games are starting to have these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of them going, you can't play online anymore, they go, well, we don't want to like pay to check the DRM. So you're just not going to be able to play it at all anymore, even though you paid like $60 for it.
Right.
And the argument is that is a good that belongs to you. So part of the argument too is like if you buy a song, right, like off iTunes, you don't own the song, but you own your copy of the song. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
Like you don't own the intellectual property, but you own the copy of the song. Now, a company couldn't come and go, okay, well, we're not supporting that song anymore, so you can't listen to it anymore, even though you bought it.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like a rental. You know what I mean? Like you bought it as a good.
Right.
And the legal argument is shaky, but I just think it's a cool thing to talk about, like how companies are kind of starting to go more towards like leasing and away from actual ownership of stuff. You know what I mean?
Subscriptions to the game or whatever.
Like a good one is like Fallout 76 came out not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You pay $60, but it's an online only game.
Right.
Right? So you paid $60. You own Fallout. You own your copy of Fallout 76.
Right.
In 6 years or whatever, Bethesda shuts down their servers. You can't play that game at all anymore, even though you bought it and you own it.
Right. But
so yeah,
my thing is this. I mean, because you got to think about the company and like their cost of keeping those servers up as well. I mean, they're not just like sitting there cutting off the server going, like, fuck you people. There's typically the reason that they're cutting these servers off, from what I know, is those are pretty costly to keep going. So they need to go.
No, they aren't. They cost no money to keep going.
Really?
In the grand scheme of things, no, they don't.
Okay.
Like, do you remember paying for Xbox Live?
Huh?
You remember paying for Xbox Live?
Yeah.
And it was like $60 for a year.
Mm-hmm.
I think I forget which statistic I read, but it's something like you pay $60, they pay $1 to actually keep that stuff up and running.
Right.
Like these days, it costs nothing to run a server.
Yeah, but what about all the money they have to put into making new games and expanding like their actual company, like Rockstar does all the time, and buying new little companies to help out with their games and improving the future of their games? Like if you're putting that money into those old servers that may be like under 1,000 people in the world.
But you sold it as such. You sold it. You sold them that game, and your end user license agreement, that's another point that he puts out, is end user license agreement isn't for a rental. It's in perpetuity.
Mm-hmm. So,
which means like forever. So you sold them this game, and you said you own a copy of this game forever.
Right.
It would be like a company sold you Madden, and they go, "You own this game," or or it wouldn't be like that. It'd be like, "We're giving you this service that is Madden," and a court has ruled that isn't a service; it's a good.
Mm-hmm.
So then 5 years later, they come into your house and they go, "All right, we're taking our Madden back." And one of the most important points is, like you're saying, like it costs money. They don't have to supply servers. They don't. But like for certain games, people have tried to, they go, okay, I paid for this game. I'm going to run my own server. All I need is a cracked copy to run this game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's all this protection and encryption on it. And the companies go, no, we're not going to give that to you. Even though they own it, even though they bought the good and they're willing to run it on their own servers, the companies are under no obligation
to do so.
To give it to them.
That might be, that part right there, to give up the server to some people who want to keep it going, might be legitimate. I feel, if somebody else is going to run it and pay to keep it up.
There are people that have been wanting to do that that the companies won't allow them to. And if they try and crack the game, right?
It's probably some sort of crime
that they bought, the companies will try and sue them. That's happened with, I think, some old World of Warcraft stuff.
So the problem here really comes when it's strictly an online game.
Well, that's the only way you can do it. If you own the disc, there's no way they can take it away from you, right?
I'm not even talking about that. Like, I'm talking about strictly, like, there's no single-player option. Strictly a massive online game like that. I don't mean like physically on. That's where the real problem comes in, what these guys are talking about.
Yeah, and that has happened. Like, you could see it happening like with a game like Overwatch, right? Like, I think it's free to play now, but like I paid $60 to buy that game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is a good that I should own because I paid for it once and I own it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, if in 10 years they shut down the Overwatch servers, I still should own my copy of that good. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and because it's just an online game, you wouldn't even be able to play it. You just have your physical copy. So it's like you don't own it.
So they're acting basically like I don't own it. I think it's an interesting thing.
No, it's definitely more to think about because I'm not a big, massive like online gamer. You know what I mean? I play like single player stuff, so it doesn't affect me. So I don't really think about it in that manner. That's why I brought up Madden. Like I just play like sports games.
But I mean, you could imagine they come out with a Madden that's online only.
That would be terrible.
That would be terrible.
I would never buy it. It sucks because after like 3 weeks on every one of those games, everyone just does the same thing, and you're playing the same guy over and over again, even though it's different human beings. And
everyone figures out it's like the best team.
Like, oh, here's the play I can run. That's a money play. I'm just gonna keep doing this and this. Oh, he finally used his guy and countered it. Now I can do this. It's like this is so stupid. Why are people? I don't understand. And this is me going on a tangent now because I like people who like to play the games realistically.
Yeah.
This is me going nerdy on you. But I get so heated when people don't punt on 4th down.
Really?
Like, just punt, and sorry, I'm hitting my mic. Just do it.
Like they'll be on the 20-yard line and they won't punt.
Man. Sorry,
Ryan?
Parker. I got real hyped over here, man. I just knocked my headphone thing out. That really bugs me. What were you saying?
Do people do that a lot? They don't punt?
They just refuse to punt. And they'll be like their 2-yard line, 4th and 30, because I'm good at the game, and they won't go for it. I'll stop them, score the next play, and then they just quit. And I'm like, I don't even want to play video games anymore.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
I'm just dumb. And then, I start a podcast.
As you do when you get angry.
Yes. And then you get to talk about it.
That's funny.
All this other stuff we can probably just talk about next week, honestly.
Okay.
Because we've been at this for a little bit. All right, guys. Thank you very much. It's a good discussion today, Parker. I like this one.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah. Everyone, enjoy your day. Like, share, subscribe. Emphasis on the share. It's really going to help us out in this early stages. In the next couple of weeks, we will finally all be located in the Baltimore I don't know why I'm saying it like that. Baltimore area, and we will have both me and Parker in live studio, so we won't have the Skyping thing going on anymore.
It'll be a lot better.
Should be a lot better, and we're gonna get this shit going on iTunes and hit the ground running with everything.
Yeah.
So, have a good one, y'all.
Peace out.
Bam. All right. Cool, Parker. That one went real well.